Well, welcome back to La Tech All Access, joined by Louisiana Tech head softball coach Mark Montgomery. I'm Malcolm Butler, and Mark, hard to believe, but the 2015 season right around the corner. We open up in a couple of days. Let's take a look back at the fall. Obviously, 8 games during the fall, went 7-1. I think outscored our opponents 75-27. What did you see in the fall that impressed you maybe the most?
Just the quality of athletes on the field and the depth. I mean, the ability to make moves, to roll players in or out of the lineup, whether somebody was hurt or injured, or even this fall when we were just taking different looks. You know, we kind of have a script in the fall where certain players play certain innings, but it really let us know that we have some quality backups in addition to our starters this year.
Well, I know talking to you in the fall, you were pleased with the shape that the student-athletes came back from the summer in.
Well, we were, and that really is, our captains kind of took the lead on that. Anna, Bianca, Pauline, just 3 to name a few, and of course there are 3 of our captains, but man, they worked so hard in the off-season to come back. I think combined between those 3, we probably were down about 40 pounds. Muscle mass was increased, and they were just as strong and as fit as probably they ever have been, and it was nice because that shows their commitment in going forward.
I know I mentioned the 7-1 record in the fall. Really probably a good thing you lost that one game, and it wasn't pretty because it kind of refocuses you. If you go 8-0 during the fall, maybe the kids think, hey, we're there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a team that we had beat handedly here. We get to their place, and just the first inning goes bad. So it taught us a little bit about adversity. What do you do when you get knocked down? How do you get back up and keep fighting? And I think the kids kind of re-energized themselves, refocused, and we came out that next weekend and went 4-0. So, in pretty strong fashion.
Well, as you look at this spring, let's start with the pitching staff. I know last year that was an area where you didn't have a lot of depth in. You ended up basically with 2 pitchers down the stretch. This year you've got 4, a couple of freshmen coming in, and, of course, you like where your 2 returners are. Well,
and Bianca and Pauline, we've already talked about their drive and dedication and coming back and where they wanted to be. But the nice thing that happened is, the addition of 2 other quality pitchers has caused both of them to continue to push their game throughout the fall. And then they've been instrumental in helping the young girls learn and get better and understand kind of the collegiate way of doing things, because it is still a jump from being a high school senior to being a freshman in college.
How do you plan to use your pitching staff during the year?
Well, Bianca's going to take the lead. She'll be our number 1. She'll throw as many innings as she can in that number 1 spot, not, being careful to make sure we save her down the stretch. But, right now, Pauline will throw some number 2 innings, but she'll close a lot of games. She's just so different than any of our other pitchers. So we'll probably use her in the last 2 or 3 innings of lots of games. And then, between Bailey and Carolina, they'll pick up the slack. So some of them will get number 2 starts, and sometimes they'll get some mop-up innings when we're doing well or when we're doing poorly. And those innings will go a long way to determining who at the end of the year, when conference play rolls around, is ready to step up and be that starter.
Besides the depth you have in pitching, what do you think the strength of this group as a core is?
Well, I think they really complement each other, and that's cliche, but they really do. They throw different types of pitches, and we got one that can go more down. We got one that's more in and out. We got one that's more up, and they all are working on their secondary pitches, but they really. We feel really comfortable. If we ever have to take one out, we can put another one in, and it's a totally different look for the other team.
Now, defensively, I know that was something that had hurt the team last year. A lot of errors, a lot of unearned runs, but that was an area this fall that you were extremely pleased with. Let's start first defensively behind the plate. Talk a little bit about your catchers.
Well, Natalie was our starter pretty much all of last year, at least towards the end, and did a fine job. And she's worked on her game. She's gotten much better, but we did add a junior college transfer that really helped shore things up, and I think will help us in the running game a lot. She's going to help eliminate the other team's ability to run, and Krista Tooch, and she's strong, lefty power swing. Her swing has actually become more consistent as the year's gone on, so we're really excited about that. I mean, I think she's going to be a big RBI producer for us as well. So between the 2 of them, we feel really capable, and if one should go down for an injury, we've got a second one that's ready to go.
Now, I know you made the comment to me a few weeks ago, and I don't know if you wanted to make this public, but I'm about to, that you felt like this infield had the chance to be the best infield you've ever coached on the collegiate level.
Yeah, and in 20 years of coaching, this one really special. And it's because, Anna was the shortstop for us the last 2 years. She knows all the plays. She's great at the leadership qualities, and she could have still served as shortstop. But we brought in 2 other quality middle infielders that have slotted into there, 2 freshmen, Katie Smith from Bossier City, Louisiana, and then Carly Jensen from Salt Lake City. And with them playing short and second, Anna's now able to go to third, which capitalizes her talents even more. Pauline and Bianca returned to platoon at first base. Whichever one's not pitching will be at first. And, we turned more double plays this fall than we did all of last year. And they weren't the traditional line drive, whatever. We were turning 4.63s. We're getting the double play turned in less than about 3.1 seconds. And if you can do that, then you got a good chance to get a lot of outs that way.
Well, and I know that you're pleased also because you got some depth in the infield.
Well, sure, because last year starting second baseman Courtney Lowe is still there, and as she's continued to grow and work on her hitting now, she's going to be a real force. And so it's pushing everybody to be better. We took Lindsay Nealon, moved her to the outfield because we needed her last year with depth at the infield, but we really feel in a good shape. Then we also brought in Taylor Britzenhoff, shortstop herself from Pennsylvania, and she's able to slide in, and she gives us that depth at the corner, both at third base and first base. Amanda Gray also has been learning some time at first base, although she'll primarily serve as a number 3 catcher, a bullpen catcher for us, but expect to see her in some first base innings as well. And Taylor's hitting's come along a long way since the beginning of the fall, so I expect her to really compete and push for some at-bats.
And then in your outfield, again, you got 7 or 8 bodies out there and a nice mix of experience and newcomers.
Yeah, and we can also go lefty-righty out there if we need to. If we need to put all lefties in the outfield, we can. If we want to, go right-handed heavy out there, we can. Janine will anchor it in center field, senior captain. She played last year in right field most of the time, but she really has stepped up her game and done a great deal. Freshman Cassidy Harris has moved into the right field spot primarily, and that's just due to her bat. She's got such a great stick. She's probably going to be in that 4-hole, but, she's really consistent out there. She doesn't make errors. She just plays the ball. Late in games, I would expect to see some defensive replacements either in our other freshman, Casey Ingram or Lindsay Nealon. And then we also have Cook off the bench if we expect to go right-handed deep. Cook can play good right-handed hitter, but she's also strong defensively as well. Tori Charters and Kristen Miles will battle it out in left. Of course, Kristen's coming back off that wrist injury, but I think as she develops and grows, the 2 of them will battle for that left field spot. And again, allows me the flexibility. Do we want to go a little speed? Do we want to go a little power? And we'll have the ability to mix that up, which is not something we had last year.
And then let's talk a little bit about your lineup and the offensive side of the ball. As you've watched them this fall and you've seen them through practice into the winter, what do you like?
Well, we're just hitting it so much better. We're hitting more consistently with more power, and I know that's against our pitching, so it's always probably a bit shaded, but I just like where we're at. And we hit every pitcher we faced this fall really well, from Division I all the way through junior college. I mean, anybody we faced, it didn't matter whether they threw junk or they threw power or they threw speed. I mean, we really were good at the plate, and I'm excited because that's going to allow us to feel confident as we go forward. And if somebody's having a bad day, we've got enough depth to add in somebody else and give them an opportunity.
Well, I know you also feel like you've got a nice mix of some speed and the power. We've talked about it off the record, 3 or 4 kids that could come close to hitting 10 home runs for you this year.
Yeah, or more. I mean, Pauline, she goes some days in batting practice hitting 10 out. So, I mean, she's got a great opportunity. Anna, of course, has just been a beast at the plate. And in the leadoff base with her with such speed and power and base running ability and all the things that she brings to the table, she's just really a tough out. Her leading off, put a little speed and pressure with one of our slappers in the 2-hole. 3, 4, and 5, and 6 bring great power to the plate. All those kids could be the 10 home run kind of kids you were talking about. And then even when we fall down to the bottom of the order, we've got great hit and run people who have good bat control, put the bat and ball in play, and I think that's going to give us a lot of opportunities to score runs, to maybe even manufacture a few we could not have manufactured last year.
Well, the Lady Techsters will open the season this Thursday at home as they host a 6-team, 4-day, 15-game tournament at the Lady Techster Softball Complex.